Then there's the commander said, well, it's nice, they live in town, they can go home, pick up their kids, you know, and go home and have dinner. Yeah, after you've blown up the village, the school, even somebody's house. So there's a lot of things going on about, you know, the kind of an ethics of this. That's just as we've never really resolved our ethics around whether we should have nuclear weapons or not, and whether it's certainly ever right to initiate the launching of a nuclear weapon. Now this is another dimension. These people have never been judged. They have a hit list, like a mafia hit list, that the CIA pumps out. But they've never been tried. They've never been judged that, you know, to give them capital punishment. So who are we to suddenly say everybody on this list deserves a hellfire missile into their house? Not just for them, but anybody who might happen to be around whatever house they happen to hit. So it's a really serious crisis all over the world. Now, we went out there to preach, and a year ago, and we sat in. We went in, we kept saying we'd like to come and talk. Well, we never got an answer to our letters, so we went in with Cokes and pizza and all that and tried to sit down and have a conversation. Well, we ended up getting arrested, but Kathy Kelly, she's incredible. She goes and flies over right after we get out of jail. She goes, and she's going there right now to Pakistan because she wants to talk to the families where they hit. That's what some of what I was talking about today, that we are one world and one neighborhood. And to her, you know, if you're involved, you've been involved in a tragedy in a family, you're involved on both sides. You know, you should not only be grieving for your person, but the others that have died. There are young people dying there are children dying, there are mothers that are dying, and that she has that kind of incredible compassion. She, by the way, uses that Finlandia song they used today which was a song of unity created after the First World War. She taught the children there to sing it because they were making pictures of 9/11, and she wanted to show them that we are really all one unity. So that's something that we never knew. Most people still don't know about. I went on Amy Goodman's show a while back, and she didn't even know that they were flown from here. And other people have told me the same thing, that I've been talking to them, and they say, oh, you mean they're really flown from here? Like in Las Vegas, they're operating those that are way over there? Yes, and that's happening from many other bases too. Some are just National Guard people. So that's been kind of the issue that we've been doing. We had a trial last week, and it was incredible. We had Ramsey Clark there, and Bill Quigley from the Center for Constitutional Rights, yeah, and so forth, and rights, and they test, and Colonel Ann Wright, and the judge just kept saying, we're not going to hear any of this, we're not going to hear any of this, we're not going to hear it. All we want to know is trespass, trespass, trespass. And he was just rushing, he was going to get this thing through in one day, and out of there, and da-da-da-da-da, and the prosecutor was pushing it. He was pushing it on and on and on and on. And finally, they wiggled it around to say, well, they're just trying to give the expert witness on what trespass means. And so Ramsey Clark described it as, well, you know, you're driving down the street and there's a 3-story house and there's a children on the 3rd floor and the house is on fire. If you go in the house and you grab the children, is that trespass? Nobody would call it. Nobody would call that trespass. That's a rescue, you know, etc. And he just became mesmerized. I've never seen anybody transform as much as that. He totally transformed. His whole appearance, his demeanor. They listened for hours to those witnesses talking, and he just stopped at some point and he said, and he was going to be done within an hour or two. He said, I need 3 or 4 months to think about this. This is so many new considerations here. And he said, in my 25 years, I've never had a trial like this. And so he postponed it until January 27th, 4 months later, so he can think about it. Well, imagine, I mean, we always think we'd love to have him really think this through, and he is. It was just dumbfounding. We all said, we hadn't even presented our arguments. We had all these big things to say, and Kathy Kelly said, I think we should quit while we're ahead. John Deere, by the way, just wrote an article. It's on the internet, a very good coverage of that particular scene. Well, then there are other things. I because of going to the School of the Americas, ended up going to prison in federal prisons, and I was at Lompoc, which is in the middle of Vandenberg down here in Southern California. Then we're watching, we've been going there for a number of times. I've been arrested 2 or 3 times and gotten just fines, but not any prison time. But then I'm there and I'm watching, which was a miracle. I could never figure out, because I was in Georgia, and we told them we wouldn't be back in California for months, so they postponed the trial I was supposed to have in Santa Barbara. And then they sent me there, of all places, right in the middle of the chicken coop. There I was with a man bar letter. I shouldn't come anywhere near the place, but the federal government spent a lot of money flying me and carrying me over there to be right in the middle of it. And they all got a big kick out of it, the guards and everything. You mean you protest? Do you protest Vandenberg? Sure, I protest Vandenberg, you know. So they're launching these ICBMs. And they're going to the Marshall Islands, Kwajalein, remember that? H-bomb, the coral reefs out there that have been destroyed, the people that are still injured and damaged from the H-bombs. They're flying out there and they're dropping bombs right there. These missiles, what they do is they take ICBMs, they bring them from the silos, they take out the nuclear warhead, and they fill the whole thing with depleted uranium to make them heavy, because depleted uranium is the heaviest thing you can. Then they send them off from Vandenberg, and they land in the Marshall Islands in Kwajalein at 8,000 miles an hour to crash into the coral reefs, which are already sinking, and bash them up, and then land in the fisheries there with all this depleted uranium. I mean, it's really macabre that they would be doing such a thing, but that's what we're doing regularly. We had a message we've been over there, some of us, to Japan just last year, to Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and they wrote us saying, please get them to stop sending those missiles. We're trying to stop Korea from sending these little missiles, but now they're doing this with these big, huge missiles, you know. They're huge ICBMs, and we feel intimidated because Korea sends off this little missile, and then they're sending off an ICBM that huge, which shows, you know, see how we're the superpower, and land out there. So that's a very big campaign that we're concerned about, and how to stop that. We've been trying, and we keep getting arrested, and I don't know what's going to happen. I was not out of the prison right there. I was not out 2 weeks when August 8th came up again, August 9th, and we went to Livermore, which is on Friday, and rushed down, and on Saturday we went out to Vandenberg and crossed the line, and we were right back into, going back into the Vandenberg base there. So, you know, I could almost see my room over there. I told him when I left, I said, well, I'm subletting this condo here. I'll be back. Yes, you're going to be back, aren't you? I said, yeah, great. So, anyway, there's a lot of stuff to be done, but it's exciting. We're still trying to close the School of the Americas. We're still doing all these things, but at the same time, they're doing all kinds of stuff in space. Vandenberg is becoming a grounding place for that. They're going to take the shuttles, and they're going to make a smaller version, because the shuttles are not armed, but they're going to make a smaller version from Vandenberg that will be armed in space, that can hit anywhere in the world in a matter of minutes. That's the way we're de-escalating. That's the way we're living up to the Non-Proliferation Treaty, and, you know, getting rid of all nuclear weapons as we're making new ones. So that's what's going on, and that's why we have to be alert and ready, and we need to express our concerns. And money is not worth it, no matter how much money you make on the military-industrial complex. We have to realize that we are all one people. What affects one of us affects all of us, and that's wherever it is in the world. And I'm ready to go to prison again and again and again, if that's in any way helping us to call attention to being the people that we don't want to be. We do not see ourselves that way. A lot of effort is made that we continue not to really know what's going on, but we need to know, and we need to give our all to try to change that. Thank you.